Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Welcome back to Seven Talks Podcast Season 2. We got a special guest starting it off on Season 2, a mixed media artist by the name of Alberto Devon. We're going to be just, talking about your upbringing, man, letting the audience, let my audience, my fans, and, on my platform, also yours as well, know a little bit more about you in depth.
Cool.
So just starting off, it says that you're from Racine.
Yeah, Racine.
Racine,
Yeah, Racine, Wisconsin. Yeah.
I mean, when I did my research, the only thing that I know in Wisconsin is the Green Bay Packers. So, I mean, I ain't know too much about it, but just, give them a little bit about yourself and, your upbringing, a little about, what goes on there. What is Racine, Wisconsin known for?
Okay. Well, Racine is a relatively small city. It's in between Chicago and Milwaukee. It has in 2018, 2019, it was ranked as the third worst city in America for African Americans to stay. So it was a hell of a time getting out of it. But now that I'm out of it, I feel like it's my duty to be able to speak and be able to bring light to that city and also to that area. As far as myself, growing up, wasn't the best, but we all got our own stories.
Right.
When it comes to stuff like that. It's just been up and down. It's been up and down. But at this point, I feel like, just riding it out, seeing the good with the bad, it's becoming something beautiful.
For sure. And I think that's something that we got in common because I'm from Mobile, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
You being from Wisconsin, you were saying that, it's the second in 2018, right?
2018, 2019.
2019, it was said to be the second worst city for African Americans.
Yeah.
So where I'm from, I think last year Forbes, Mobile, Alabama was said to be like the second most dangerous place. So I can understand the upbringing and coming because certain, like they say, every place has a hood in a sense. So I totally understand. So moving forward, just like we here just talking about your paintings and your artwork. So in 2013, it says that you learned how to do art in prison.
Yep.
How did that come about? What pushed you to go that route?
Well, in 2011, I was federally indicted on a buy sale for crack cocaine. I got picked up. I was young. I was only 24 at the time. Just like bitter, I was young and I was bitter in there because I had never been to prison before. I did county jail time, but I had never did prison. Trying to figure out shit, in terms of life. Just constantly going down to the art room. I was constantly going down to the art room, and I had never painted before. I knew how to draw, as a child, but I had never painted. I started, from there, just being more intrigued. And my mom had sent me in Jay-Z's Decoded book. With her sitting there in that book, I was reading through it. And another thing is Jay-Z's my favorite music artist of all time.
Same. One on my list.
Yep. So I had that book brought in. I was reading through it, and I got to a page where he breaks down his lyrics, but it was also a painting in there. It was about this big. I didn't know who the artist was. I didn't know anything, in terms of that artist. But reading further in the book, I found out it was Jean-Michel Basquiat. I asked my mom to bring me the Basquiat book, so she mailed it out to me. Got that book, I read more about him, and I started to see his story. And for me, with him passing at that young age of only being 28 in New York, overdosing off of heroin, I was just like damn, you feel like a bird wings get clipped. So for me, I didn't feel like his story was over. Got my art supplies. I had a guy in there that supplied me some art supplies. Started painting, and when I first started painting, I was trying to do the traditional way of just painting regular, but it wasn't matching the photo that he had did. Yeah, so I got frustrated because I was like, man, it's not looking like this.
Right.
So listening to music, I was like, man, so I started, just getting my paintbrush and going crazy with it. And it started to look more and more identical to that piece. The guy who supplied me the art supplies, he was like, bro, I'm not buying you nothing else. Like,
Right.
I'm not buying you nothing else. Like,
Messing up.
you gotta get your own. Like, I'm not gonna buy you this shit to tear it up. But once he seen the piece and it was done, he was like, I don't get it, but it's identical.
Right.
And I was like, cool. From there, I just started going down there more, testing out different styles and shit of painting. But that style just like stuck with me. I liked that it wasn't cookie cutter. It wasn't
Right.
politically correct. Because that's life, you know.
Right.
Nothing
Ain't
is
nothing gonna be
cookie cutter.
Right.
Like, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be areas where you can cross stuff out and redesign it, because that's what we do in life all day.
Right.
I did that all the way until I got out. Once getting out, you know, the world speeds back up.
Right.
Like when you're in prison, like the world's kind of in slow-mo. The world sped back up for me, so I'm trying to figure out, like, getting my footing back, but also seeing kind of like a bird's eye view of my neighborhood, and it wasn't the same. It was still the same stuff going on, but my mentality was a little bit different. Because now it's like, I'm seeing where it was accountability. I'm seeing areas of myself that I was holding myself accountable on, but I'm not seeing the streets doing that. And I had to learn for myself that the streets ain't gonna do that.
Ain't gonna do it.
You know what I'm saying? So I got out, got back to finally meeting my daughter, who was 5 at the time when I first found out about her. She was 2.
This is in 2016?
2014 I got out.
2014.
Yeah, I got out 2014. So getting out, I'm trying to figure everything out. You know, gaining a relationship with my oldest daughter.
Right.
I come to find out that my girlfriend at the time is pregnant. Building things with her, trying to figure everything out, and I got an offer for me to work out here in Arizona.
Right.
So I'm bringing up to her like, I don't know what the future gonna bring with us out there, but I know what the past and brought us here.
Right.
Like, let's just go. You know, let's try to figure this shit out. Let's just go. She didn't want to leave her family and everything else, so I brought her up to my family, and you know, my newborn is here now. This is in 2015. My newborn is here, and she still don't want to leave, but I do. My heart wants to leave.
Right.
I don't want to leave her, but I know it's gonna be way worse, either death or back to prison, if I stay in the area I'm at. Cause like I told you, this is second and third worst cities.
Too much to offer.
Yeah, so
especially when you're trying to change your environment, change the way you do things. But yeah.
Yep, I ended up leaving there, coming out here, and you know, I was bashed for being the worst father in their eyes. Like, but I knew the only way I could help these girls, the only way I could help myself was to do the best for me at that time.
Always.
I offered. It wasn't like I blindsided the person. I offered, you know. So I get out here, figuring stuff out, and I would use painting as like a way to relieve stress.
Right.
I grab a paintbrush. I'm frustrated. I'm like, man, I need to shoot the Michaels. Like, this helped me in the joint. It's gonna help me on the streets. So I'm painting, you know, knocking out pieces, and I just put it up in my house. Like, I wasn't posting that, and like I look at it like, yeah, you snap, Brody. Like, you know, self-talk to myself. But people would come around my apartment and they're like, bro, who do your artwork? And I'm like, me? Like, get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, I'm serious. You know, I'm just moving out here. People don't really know me like that. So they like, and like, bro, like, you ain't doing no art. I'm like, I'm serious.
Right.
I had a clothing line at the time. That's how Appealing started, actually. Started through a clothing line. And with the clothing line, it was a saturated market, just to be in all honesty with you.
Right.
It was a saturated market, and I just felt like the message wasn't coming across the way I could just do it by myself.
Right.
Because at the time I didn't have anybody as a team, it was just me. So I was like, man, I'm gonna shelf it for a minute. But with people coming around and telling me to push my art publicly,
Right.
I took the same name, which was Appealing, you know, for the clothing, and I just added art and studio.
Right.
I started the IG page. This was in 2021. They was telling me to push the art. 2022 comes, January, I hit the ground running.
Right.
Hit the ground running. I ain't look back, and I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna push it. And like, whatever come from it, come from it. Like, you know it's dope, but if other people don't take it like that, Oh well, like, hey, you just gotta keep going.
So when you going back from moving from Wisconsin to Arizona, and because it's saying like, you know, you said you didn't start until 2022. So did you just kind of hold a lot in, and when you start putting that work out in 2022, did that kind of that piece of like that separation in time, did it help you?
I feel like it did in a way. I'm a big Dragon Ball Z fan, so it's like it's kind of like Goku and them being in a hyperbolic chamber. Like that's what I'm training. Like I'm getting myself ready mentally. Like these conversations I can have all day, like this.
Right.
But sometimes, given where you're at the time, or the people you're around at the time, a conversation may not need to be had.
Right.
But through art, I feel like a person, if they're intrigued with it, they'll take the time to know about that conversation. So for me, these conversations been in me since a kid, you know. Like
just putting it on the canvas.
Yeah,
at
like
this point.
like the struggles that we done went through as the culture, the experiences I didn't experience, the experiences I didn't seen, whether it was on the streets, in prison, or the experiences I done learned about, whether it's in school learning about, or taking my own time to study on some things and learn about. And it's like, with knowing all of this now and seeing all of this, how can I portray it to be reciprocated, like a way that people will be able to take it in?
Take it in, right.
Because like sometimes in a conversation, if you're having a few little drinks, it's like, oh, my brother's just talking because he's drunk. But if I put it on a canvas, and I may have painted this while I was drunk, you're going to take it a little bit better.
A little bit better.
Yeah.
Kind of like music. When you first hear the album, you kind of like, it's cool. You listen to it again, it's all right. Then you listen to it that third time. So with like painting, it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You see, like, I see what you're saying. Then you come in, they might come over and see it again, or go to an art when you put it in and moving forward, like, because you know in 2023 you had your first solo. So like for your friends and the people that you was trying to show, like, hey, I'm putting what I'm thinking in my head and what I'm going through or what I seen on the canvas. But when they seen it in a gallery, what was the kind of like for yourself and also for the people that you're around at that time? What was the like kind of like the take on it? Like how did they feel? Was it
for everybody?
Like
everybody, yeah. Like they for my friends and shit. Like I had one of my friends and everything. He flew in for a day from Miami.
Right.
And we got indicted together. We got picked up on separate indictments, but we were in the same van, going to federal holding, going, you know, United States of America versus, you know, both of us.
Right.
He came out and he surprised me. He called me that morning. He was like, "You got your art show today, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Bro, I'm an emotional wreck right now." Like, and I had, you know, some personal stuff going on as far as my mentor. When I was in prison, I just had found out the day before. So for myself, I was an emotional wreck. He was like, "Bro, like, you good?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right. I got this show. Like, I'm finna rock this shit out." And he was like, "Bro, you know I'm in town, right?" I'm like, "You where?" He was like, "I'm in Phoenix." I'm like, "Man, get the fuck out of here." So he pulled up. I'm like, "How long are you here till?" He's like, "I leave tomorrow." I was like, "Bro, you pulled up for a day?" He was like, "Bro, if I can be in the back of the van with you, we both was doing dirt on the streets together, why would I not come congratulate you for doing something good?" And I was like, that shit meant the world to me. You know, so I was like, "Bro, like, I appreciate you, Brody. Like, more than you know." We got in here. I had the pieces like off center. Like, I didn't want anything to look cookie cutter. I didn't want the stuff to feel like a regular gallery. I wanted it to be raw. Because the show was called Just Had Baking Soda. Right. And it was kind of like a catch-22 because for myself, I was federally indicted on crack cocaine. My father, you know, utilizes and smokes crack cocaine. But if it wasn't for those two things, I would have never been led to prison, which led me to the coded book, which led me to the art. So it's like, do I give up the past that made me be this, or been a person that never went to prison and we never even doing this right now?
Right.
And so it's kind of like the butterfly effect. Like, I wouldn't want to change any of it. And so once the art show took place, I was just taking everything in. And the highlight of the night for me, it was the fact that I was able to, you know, 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 I was able to, you know was there was a homeless guy that came in to the gallery. He walked in, and the owner of the gallery pulled me to the side, and he was like, "Oh, bro, do you know him? Like, he looks kind of sketch." And I was like, "Bro, like, we said it was open to the public.
Right.
It's the public. Let him in." So I came up to him, and I was like, "You like any of the art?" And nobody had talked to him, so he looked, and he was like, "Actually thinking about it." And he went to all the pieces that he loved, and he talked about it. He's like, "I like this one, and I like this one." He's like, "Man, I'm finna get out of here. I'm finna go get a drink." And we had drinks available in the gallery for free. Right. So I told him, like, "Why don't you just get a drink here?" He's like, "I can't." Let him get a drink. He had the drink and everything, and kicked it, and he went on about his day. But those type of things, like at my solo show, my first solo show, meant the world to me, because the art that I'm pushing is for the people. It's not for this cookie cutter shit. Right. It's for the people. In all facets, not just this, for all of us.
So would you say, which piece would you say like is the most inspirational piece to you besides the one that you did on your first solo show?
The most.
Yeah, like, so when you break down each piece, and because you're focused.
It's a piece over here. It's called King Kunta. That's probably my favorite piece of all, because the color scheme is similar to a Basquiat piece that he did, and Jay-Z and Beyonce actually had it in the background of their Tiffany shoot. They did a photo shoot for Tiffany. Yeah. So it's in the background. That's the same color scheme, but on that piece it's called King Kunta, and one of my favorite art pieces of all time. It's not even a painting; it's a sculpture of David. That piece, however, is a staple for the world. Like, everybody knows about the sculpture of David. I wanted to do a rendition of it on a canvas of a sculpture of a black person, but I was like, how would I put him on a canvas? Like, how would I make him look? Right. So I took Kunta, which is out the movie, Roots. Right. So I put him on the same pedestal as David, but with his leg chopped off, and you got Toby being scratched out, because as much as they were trying to whip him into being what they wanted him to be, right, he knew who he was. And that piece is kind of a spin on myself. Right. Like, as much as I'm gonna get on this pedestal, they're gonna try to chop me at the feet eventually. Right. And they do it with every celebrity. It just comes with the territory. And the names being crossed out is them trying to make me be something that they want me to be, but I'm not hearing it. I know who I am. And I think that's the most influential piece for me, at least, because it's giving me a bird's eye view of the future for myself.
And then, as far as like with your pieces, is there a specific message you're trying to convey through your art? Like, if is it like a specific, because each art piece has its message.
Confidence. Right. Throughout all the struggles that everybody went through, whether I'm speaking on natives who are called Indians, but they ain't from India. Right. Whether it's African Americans, whether it's literally any race. I feel like the biggest hurdle at this point in life is ourselves. Right. And until we can get out of our own way, you can't grow. And I'm growing in real time with my pieces all day, and I want people to see the growth, and I want people to see the failures, and I want people to celebrate the success. But it's gonna take me going through both of these for kids in my back home neighborhood or kids in another neighborhood that may feel discouraged to see, no, the person I love that does art, I see him fall, right, but he picks himself back up. I can do the same. Because
I feel like, and going into that, I feel like, because when I grew up, like, I knew how to draw, do different things like that, wanted to play instruments, but that's when that wasn't what I was seeing in my environment. So it's kind of like, well, art, when you putting that out there, you just letting these kids know, like, you don't have to play ball, you don't have to go do music. Like, this is music, this is another form of art. So just like with your kids, because you say
I got 2 daughters.
So for me, I got a daughter and I have a son. My son took after me to play football.
Okay.
I play football. My daughter, she likes to run track, does gymnastics, to do different things like that. Do you incorporate these what you do with your art to your daughters and stuff like that?
Both of them are artists.
Both of them.
And then my oldest right now, she has her own little business.
Nice.
Kalia Creations. Y'all check it out when y'all got time. But yeah, like they constantly hit me up like, Dad, I just did this, Dad, I just did that. You know, my niece, she stays out here and she tells all her friends like, oh, my uncle's famous. And like they run up to me, they're like, you're famous? And I'm like, nah. They're like, but you have your artwork in a gallery. And like that means the world to me, you know what I'm saying? Because like these kids are looking at me as an inspiration of the limelight.
Right.
And the limelight is not on TV for them right now. That's not the limelight for them. The limelight is just being in a gallery.
Right.
For me, I know it's like, it takes work to get into one, but it's not as big as what I envision for myself.
Right.
But for these kids, through, like I said, the journey, they're willing to cling on to the journey now. And I feel like it's much more of a pleasure internally for me than them seeing me as a dope dealer.
Right.
And then they like, oh, I want to be like him. Because they're going to learn through trial and error. And that error side of that trial is hard and it's terrible. But if you go through it, you got to go through it, you know? But being I have went through it, I just want to make sure now I can deter other people, whether it's a child or an adult, from making those same decisions. And just like I said, living through my own experiences and telling mine as well as others through a paintbrush.
So what do you feel like moving forward as far as your plan? As far as, because I know just reading on you and kind of digging down and doing my research, you wanted to do something for inner city kids.
Mm-hmm.
What's your plan with that? You know,
I want to start to put appealing art schools, which will be called Appealing Art Academy,
right,
within cities. And then I will make pop-ups within those cities, you know, because like, it's the same as if there's an NBA player that makes it out of a city, but he comes back to a high school.
right,
The high school turned when he walked into the school. I want to be like that within these cities. I make a pop-up, and I'm popping up in the city, and they're like, but you got a show tomorrow. And I'm like, yeah, but I just want to pop up on y'all.
Right.
Like, yeah, I'm in Dallas right now real quick. You know, I got that show in LA. Like, how y'all doing on y'all art? Like, just seeing the art and like watching them grow, watching them build.
right.
From there, my biggest goal, America-wise, is to get my artwork into Eden Gallery. It's in New York.
Okay.
Getting my artwork there is gonna be big for me because a current a live painter that I look up to is Alec Monopoly.
Yeah, I like that.
So seeing his artwork there, like with me being next to him, like I want to see him in the gallery and whisper to him like, and made it,
Right.
like I done popped up here too. But my like grandest goal is to start an art school in Africa. I feel like, you know, the journey of the Africans turned American, has been a struggle since we landed. It's always been an uphill battle. But for myself, I want to at least get back to the land so that the people that's above that fought this whole way
Right.
know like, yeah, we did make it back. We made it back. And I want them over there to know the story of the journey of their people being taken, and now we back, and this is our story we have to tell.
And then as far as like the connection with your art and music nowadays, because when we're looking at music can be a negative thing and it can be a positive thing. And then what do you feel like your connection with your art? How can you, because when these kids nowadays, like, and I'm gonna say late 90 kids, early 2000 kids, these kids look at music and they kind of try to do the same thing as what the music is saying. You know what I'm saying? How can your art be something different to show these kids? Because when I look at your art, when I was just skimming through, looking at everything, and then even being in this gallery, looking at everything, it shows a history of what we've been through.
Mm-hmm.
So like listening to the music, because we all listen to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? How can your art be kind of not a disconnect, but a connection to what's going on, but also like instill to educate?
I think for the kids, mostly, they don't know how to express themselves.
Right.
They bitter. They in a fucked up situation. I was bitter.
Right.
You know, the kids that can't figure it out, they don't have the resources, the finances to be able to get themselves out of this fucked up situation. Their mom may work a 9 to 5 and overtime and still come home and they don't got shit to eat. It's tough. So for them hearing music and the things that they see once they walk outside or the things they experiencing in the house, that's their way of getting it out. You know, so from there they listening to this music and it may be preaching anger, but that's what they feel.
That's what they feel, right.
So like I can't knock them. However, with the art, you can find a way to express it a little bit better. Right. You frustrated, paint what you mad about.
Right.
Cuss their ass out on this canvas.
Right.
And then get back to your day-to-day life. And anytime you stress, get back to this damn canvas. But for music, it's not telling them a proper way. If they want to shoot somebody, they can paint who they want to shoot.
Right.
But if in a song they're just talking about shooting, they're gonna really go grab a gun, they're probably gonna do it. You know, it's not like most music artists are not telling them, yeah, I'm pissed off, I'm stressed out, but you don't need to be this way. They saying, I'm pissed off, I'm stressed out, and these kids is chanting, I'm pissed off, I'm stressed out, I'm pissed off, I'm stressed out. And they get outside, they show up in school, and somebody trigger them, and what they go back to, what's in their head that they've been repeating all day, I'm pissed off, I'm stressed out. And they snap. And they fucking snap. But why wouldn't they? They seeing their daddies go to the joint. They seeing their uncles go to the joint. They seeing their best friend get killed, and he wasn't even the one they was even supposed to be shooting at. They seeing their sister out here, their big sister out here, bringing any guy they want through the door. You know what I'm saying? Their mama coming home from work, snapping on them about the house not being clean, but he just wanted to play the game. I've been stressed the fuck out at school. I just want to play the game. But it's like, no, you gonna clean these, you gonna do this, you gonna do this. Then they go back outside and it's like, you know what happened to your best friend last night? Like, what? Oh, he just got shot. Like, what? I gotta get a gun. I gotta protect myself. Right. I'm pissed off. I'm stressed out. I'm pissed off. I'm stressed out. That's the only thing they can relate to. So you you can't knock them, but as well as not knocking them, just give them another avenue.
Right.
Because that's it. Other than that, if you're gonna complain about them, it's just like everybody just sitting back looking at milk spill.
Facts.
If you ain't gonna clean it up, don't talk about it. And I've always been like that. If you're not gonna clean up the mess, don't talk about the mess. Right. And it's so much, I feel like, political wise, the agenda wise, they talk about the issue, but they're not putting the motherfucking resources there. They're cutting school funding. Right. They ain't got gym centers like that. So what do y'all expect these kids to do?
Much they can do at this point.
What do y'all expect them to do? You put a puppy around wolves and you get mad at them for surviving.
Right. And then like just moving forward, as far as what are you working on right now? What's any upcoming events or anything that you want people to know about that you know, as far as like something that they should pay attention, tune into, or come out to see your work?
Next month, I have a few shows lined up. They're all collab shows though. I have APS, I have speaking with the NAACP at the Sun Stadium, and then Botanical Gardens. Sun Stadium will be the 15th of February. I have APS the 22nd of February, and then the 28th will be Botanical Gardens. If anybody want to come check me out. As far as the solo show, we had to push the date back. It was going to be February 10th. We had to push it back to March because of the chef that we're going to have at the show. This will be my first ever show where we're not just incorporating art, we're also going to have a dinner. Right. The basis of the show is called Unchained. And I feel like the way that 2020 came along and all of us went into like hibernation due to COVID, we've seen so many creatives be born.
Right.
So we're getting to a point now where the creatives are there, the confidence is slowly building. However, we still have a little bit of self-doubt that we can see within each other. You know, we see it within each other, whether it's a subliminal post that they post online or something they may say in passing conversation. The show Unchained is going to be working to help everybody in there connect. I'm having these cards that everybody will be able to leave with. They're connection cards. So everybody at the dinner will be able to read off a card, a piece to each other, and find ways to break that ice of, a lot of times we have so many great thoughts up here,
Right.
but we're so nervous to put them out here because we don't know how it's going to be reciprocated. So those connection cards are going to be icebreakers. So now you have that talk with a person to speak on what you may have a talent in or what you may like, and now you guys are connecting, but this is something that you may have never did prior to playing this game, coming to the dinner, or coming to the show.
Right.
I feel like all of us have a talent, everybody. What it is, that's on that person to find out. But I feel like we all have a talent, and it took me 25 years to find mine. But now with me being 36 and 11 years later, I just want to push people a little bit more because I wish I had that growing up.
Sure.
You know, the things I was talking about as far as like appealing art academies and things like that. If I had these resources at a young age, I probably never would have ended up in prison. But here we are, and I take it as a lesson more than anything. I take the blessings I also gained out of it, and I don't look at it as something bad, you know. I know society may, but I learned some of my best lessons within that, and I learned some of my best beauties coming through that. Like, I didn't know I had this in me, you know, but it took me being in a dark place to find light, and yeah.
I feel like that's solid too, because it gives a view not even only for kids, but like somebody that's older that may not feel like, you know, they have that talent and just scared to put it out there. I feel like your story will give a lot of not hope, but just a lot of faith to a lot of people. And like, if a person went through this, grew up in this neighborhood, and I feel like that's what majority of the world, they sit and they think so much and not put out. And with your story, it's like, even though I went through this, even though I've been in federal penitentiary, even though I had to move, take a leap on faith and move from Wisconsin to Arizona, I was able to, and now look at the outcome of everything. And just kind of wrapping it up, what would be a message you can give to somebody, not kids, but just
adults
as a whole, like to kind of continue and hey, pick up that paintbrush.
Trusting yourself. Trusting yourself. Yourself is key. You can trust in everybody else. We've all, a statement I have is every kid had an idol. Whether it was somebody on TV or it was your dad coming home from work, everybody had an idol. But now as a kid or as an adult, let the idol be you, you know? Look into you and see the things that you love about you and push them. Push them as much as you can. Because you never know who you're influencing. You literally never know who you're influencing. But as long as you continue to be the best version of you, the day before, like today I'm a better version of me than I was yesterday. If you keep that mentality, you're gonna be great. You ain't gotta look at nobody else for their stature or anything else. Just be a better version of you than you were the day before. And you're gonna outdo yourself every day, and eventually the tortoise wins the race. The tortoise wins the fucking race.
That's awesome. And thank you for tuning in to Seven Talks Podcast. Season 2 is going to be geared towards a lot of great creators like, you know, Devon, Mr. Devon. And keep tuning in, follow him. His stuff will be listed below. Also, keep in tune with his stuff too as well. He has some big things coming up that he's working on. And we just appreciate you for your time for tuning in. And click, like, subscribe, share, whatever you know, and continue to kind of tune in with Seven Talks Podcast. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you, bro.
You already know, buddy.
Yeah.